Welcome to the Connections Community Church post show where we sit in our ugly orange chairs and talk about the sermon.
That's a little joke between us.
Yeah, I almost said it wrong again. The first time I said it wrong, and it was
well, you have all this pressure.
Well, yes, I know. Just obviously, just so much pressure.
Yep.
But welcome. We're so glad that you're with us. Whether you just walked out of the service or you're sitting at home, nice and warm, avoiding these crazy snowy roads that we just had this morning. We're glad that you're with us, and we are just gonna hit it off by checking in. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Very good.
Sunday, snowy morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it was a fun drive in.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wasn't too bad for me. I have nice tires on my Subaru Legacy. Super excited about it. That's probably one of my favorite features of.
I've also loved it. I think I've heard you say Subaru Legacy about 10 times today.
It's something I can brag about right now. So. Oh, but man, it's so good to be with y'all this morning. We were gone. We didn't have church last week because of the crazy weather.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that's one thing that we really we feel it when when we don't have church.
Yeah.
Like you notice a huge difference. There's something missing from your Sunday morning. But how was your Thanksgiving? Did you guys do anything special?
We didn't do anything special. I mean, the usual. Ate the yummy food with our family, but there was something about the food this year that just was so yummy.
I thought I was going to go the other
yummy.
direction.
No,
Glad
it was good.
supper.
But this year, let me tell you, somebody messed up the turkey big time.
Oh boy.
No, it was very yummy. I'm still like, it was such a good meal. You know, when you have a really good meal and you continue to think about it,
Yeah.
you kind of wish you had more. That's where
good.
I'm at with that.
That's always a good problem.
It's always you can tell the meal's good when there's not a lot of leftovers. Because I was
True.
like, man, I'm like, I thought I brought home more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was great. Just time with family, relaxing, watching the Lions lose. That's okay though.
Yeah. It's fine.
Made Dave happy.
Well, we don't care about that. Packers.
Kathy, how about you?
Yeah, it was small, but we spent some time with some of our grandkids and went to the air zoo at least once.
Cool.
And
Nice.
that's always fun.
Air zoo's always fun.
Yeah,
It
that
is
was a good
so
time.
fun. The kids just love it. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. Very cool. Well,
What about you?
Yeah.
Our Thanksgiving was great. We were in Texas with my family. First time we've seen them since January, and so it was great just being together. All the kids. Atlas's first cousin sleepover happened, and so
those
that
are
was
fun, yeah.
he just had a blast. And you know, it's kind of one of those things like we wanted more, don't want to miss out on family time or anything, but you know, it was really great and special having the time that we did, and it was fun.
Yep.
So yeah,
Good.
It's good. Thanks for asking.
Sure.
But yeah, so Dave's sermon this morning on hope, and obviously in the context of the Christmas story, the Christmas narrative around Jesus' birth, and you know what that led to with his life and eventual death on the cross and everything. But what stood out today with you about the message around hope?
Well, I mean, when Dave tells the story of his sister, it always kind of snaps things into perspective for me, where I was like, I guess I really have nothing to complain about. Like, it's one of those like humbling moments when you're like, oh yeah, I could be going through that, or there's somebody who's going through that and they're still remaining so positive and so hopeful. And it's like, really, I should not be down in the dumps at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's interesting too, that it seems like sometimes particularly people who have hope in Christ, even though they're going through the most dire circumstances, they can be the most hopeful people and encouraging people. Like David went to encourage her, and he ended up being encouraged.
Exactly.
I've
seen that multiple times,
right?
even with like family.
It's consistent. Yeah, and something about that.
Yeah, huh? What is the common? Oh yeah, Jesus, common denominator.
What else? What else stood out this morning?
There was a part of his message towards the end. I'm just going to read from verbatim, because if I try to reiterate it, I'll mess up my words, I'm sure. So what he noted was that God makes sure that nothing can happen to you that would end your life before his appointed time or keep you from fulfilling his purposes for your life. And there's always like certain parts of the messages where there's like one part where you're like, that was really good. And that was something that just meant a lot to me. I have like really high positivity, but I also have as equally as high worry and anxiousness. And that resonated with me because I don't often think about when my time is done, I completed my mission, right? Like I did what God wanted me to do in life. I just don't think of it that way. That is just not how I naturally think, especially in times of chaos like Dave was talking about today. Who thinks of like, it's fine, like everything's going to be fine, like God, right? That's just not, I mean, I'm sure there's some people like Dave's sister who does think that, but I don't, right? And I want to because it sounds very peaceful, like I know I get robbed of calmness and seeing all the perspectives and appreciating all the different angles in life in my times of worry, and I know it and I still do it, right? So I don't know, it's just a little nugget that I want to try to continue to keep it top of mind, and I won't. And then I come back to church every Sunday and then I get reminded like, oh, why do I do this? So that was like one of my favorite things that he covered today.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a huge thing, is just the peace in Jesus because of who he is, what he's done, means that we don't have to have that worry, but we tend to hold on to it, right?
Yeah, and we have zero control, right? That's the other thing.
We like to think we do, though.
Oh, preaching to the choir.
Time, yeah.
That is me. I will control everything.
Oh, that's comforting. I'm not alone, and neither are you. Kathy, how about you?
I think just the reminder that, Mary and Joseph's life wasn't perfect. I think we forget to think about like what Jesus must have had the perfect life growing up. But, just like all of us, raising kids is hard, and, finances, the political environment, all the different things, like their family had to go through that too. And I think it was just a good reminder to help us relate to, the things that they faced, and especially like the judgment. Oh, you're pregnant before your marriage. I mean, many people have been through that and feel that even today. And I know people don't look at it as, like such an awful thing, but back then it was a huge deal. And so I just think that even then God's looking in, protecting, looking. And I often think and try to ask myself, like when things are chaos, because we have chaos in our life on a regular basis, it seems. And, but it's like, Lord, what are you teaching me now? What am I supposed to be learning from this? Because that helps me have hope. Because sometimes if you just get so overwhelmed by it, like, oh, when is this going to end? Instead of like, I used to always think that, like, why does it just have to keep coming and coming? And then I try to shift and say, what am I supposed to be learning during this time? Like, because God, what are you trying to show me? And where do I need to step it up? Because I know he's always there. I've been through a lot of hard things and I know he always has shown up. But when you're in the middle of it, like you said, sometimes it's easy to get stressed or anxious. And so I think it's just a good reminder that's always been for all mankind. And when we keep our focus on God and his plan for us and his love, grace, and mercy for us, that we can hope in that his promises are true.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't always look the way we want it to.
For sure.
But, if we just submit to that and like, okay, God, this is not the way I really would like it, but I'm trusting you that you do have a plan. At some point, I may get it and you may not ever get it, but that's okay too.
Yeah, if you can put in, God, if you're taking my input, here's how I would like to have it. That would be great. I completely resonate with that. I mean, there's times that things are just hard, and looking back and seeing God's faithfulness, seeing how he's behaved in the past and how he's acted in the past and the things that he's done is a good reminder. But it can be hard to hold on to those things where like, oh man, like I know these things in the past, but right now, this is what I'm focused on. Yeah. And looking in the moment is probably one of the hardest things to really stabilize you. But looking back, and I mean, there's scriptures say like we raise an Ebenezer, like this standing stone, like so that anytime somebody passes it, they can look back at this and they can see this is what God has done. And you can tell the story and you can remember what God is, who God is, and what he's accomplished and for his glory through your life. I think that's powerful. So what are things that when things are tough, you do to remember or to kind of go back towards hope in your life?
yeah, Layla, what do I do? I am like the ones like, oh, this is terrible. Like we should all be freaking out. So I don't do a very good job, as I noted earlier, in the actual center of the chaos. But I do usually feel a very overwhelming sense of like gratitude when I at least get through something personally, or like with a family member or friend. I think it's usually pretty easy to see like, wow, like maybe that was a true miracle situation, or maybe it wasn't that big of a thing. But that's I think what continues to fill my hope bucket, right? Like continuing to look back on that. Throughout my life, I have had some pretty chaotic moments that I've shared about on various post shows, and I won't get in the weeds. I think everybody goes through like a big chaotic moment, probably something devastating, right? I'm sure there's not one person walking on this earth that hasn't had something that has been big and has shaped somebody in a certain kind of way. And I think for me, it's like if I can get through something like that with God, then I try to use that, right? Going into any other type of chaotic situations. So, and God has not put me through, but I worked alongside with me through big things, like pivotal things. I could have chosen to just completely been devastated and depressed, right, with some of the situations I've gone through, and I chose to not do that. But I couldn't choose that without my faith and hope in God and not like feeling His presence and Spirit within me. So,
yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. What else?
Like you said, looking back, like I tend to mark certain events like after the chaos happened, and I can see more clearly now. And then when things are happening, I'm like, hey, remember before when you were freaked out about this? And at the end of it, so that kind of stuff helps me, and also just surrounding myself with friends that I can, kind of vent to, or because sometimes you just need to like, hey, you're not the only one going through this, and then you're like, oh yeah, there are other people out there, cool,
Right.
so we can kind of lock arms and just kind of skip down that yellow brick road together. Right. Yes, I did just watch Wicked.
What about you, Kathy?
I think too, all those things, and plus and remembering scripture. I mean, just like Dave shared, I think be anxious for nothing. He is my provider. Have peace, and God will never, give you something you can't handle. That He will always make a way. Things like that, and just knowing that all things work together for those who love God. I mean, I think, okay, I do love God. I'm not perfect, but I love you. So give me some wisdom or help me get through this, and also like if I'm dealing with conflict with people that cause chaos, which is probably usually the thing, at least for us, is like, different relationships. It's like, I just try to pray so hard for my attitude, and like, help me to see them the way you see them. Help me to pray for them and for their deliverance. Help me to put down my walls and my pride or my unforgiveness and bitterness if it's there, because I feel like then like things open up, and if I can take check of my own heart sometimes, because sometimes it's me that's causing it and I think it's them.
Right.
And then if sometimes it is just like someone's maybe lost or drifting, just praying, because God can make a way. And it may take, look at Moses, 40 years in the desert. I remind myself of that all the time. And yet He's who helped deliver Israel, which is amazing. And I think, when we have people that we feel are not walking, or even when I feel stagnant in the Lord for a while, I'm like, okay, God, it hasn't been 40 years. I'm okay. I got to redirect, or just pray for those people that we love or that aren't saved yet, that we want to be saved, just to continue to pray for them. I think it just gives me hope that God's still working in their lives and in mine, which I need a lot.
Yeah. And I think typically when we hear people talk about hope, it's more like a wish.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish that my circumstances would be different. I wish that this person would change, or I wish that this person would do this, or I wish that I wouldn't have to go through this. And that's how people typically talk about hope outside of faith in Jesus. But I think what you're describing there is like, I'm trusting in Jesus. I'm trusting that Jesus is going to do something, and I need to recenter myself
Yeah.
so that I can be different in this situation in relation to what's happening. Because, it's possible in Jesus to have that hope and to have those different circumstances, as we talked about with Dave's sister. And I mean, just so many people that are around us, we get to see and look at the way that they orient themselves. They're doing it differently than maybe we are in our circumstances, where, I'm using hope as a wish rather than hope as trust in God that he knows what he's doing and he's going to carry me through it. So I love that. And I think you also pointed to prayer as being one of those things, that I turn to, like, God, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to do this. I just need you to walk me through it.
Yep.
'Cause if it's on me, I'm going to mess something up real bad. Either myself or, my circumstances are going to get worse because I'm trying to be in control and do the things that I know how to do. And I don't know how to do it as well as you do. So please just take it, because I can't do this on my own. So I don't know. When you hear hope, is there anything else that stands out about that or that comes to mind that is maybe different from what we hope for in Jesus or have in Jesus?
I always think of Star Wars. It's like, default, but the story is ultimately about hope, and that you hope people who have drifted away can come back and all these things. So, that's like where my mind goes initially, is like, yes, they can. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that's mine.
I think too, hope is just having a vision for what could happen and that people can change.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I used to do a lot of teen work, and my mom was a terrible alcoholic for many, many years growing up. And I prayed for her all the time, that she would be delivered. And it wasn't until I was like in my mid to late 20s, my mom finally quit drinking. Wow. And I used to pray for her so much. And I'd tell kids, don't ever quit praying for your parents, because, it's just, they get in bondage and life is hard, and you don't know the whole stories of why sometimes. And she was such an amazing woman for so many years after, because once she got delivered from that, and she was a faithful Christian and taught me to pray and everything through it. That's the other thing. It's like, but just seeing her heart of service and love for God even afterwards until she died. I mean, it's just, you just can't give up on people, especially those in your family and those that you're close to, that there's just always hope that they can change and that God will work in their lives and they will open their hearts to that. And so I just think for me, that's probably one of my favorite hope stories. It's just, I longed for it. I hoped for it. I prayed hard for her, and God just did a work in her, and he does that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it is, we think sometimes prayer doesn't work, and it could take forever, but it does work. And I've seen it in so many times, in my life and those people that I love, like God does show up, So I don't know, for me, it's just.
It's that pesky his time and not my time.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah, so I don't never quit praying for those you love. That's the hope.
Great. Yep.
Because you never know, and God does amazing things when people are delivered.
Yeah, that's amazing. Awesome. Layla, any last thoughts from you?
I guess the last thought that's kind of circling in my head is, I think a lot about hope and people who don't believe in God, and it gets really confusing for me because, like, to me, hope is hoping in God. And a lot of times when I hear of people saying like, oh, I have hope and I hope for good things, to me, I think that is still in God. Even though one might not say I am like having faith and hope in God, but if you have it and you're leaning into it, I like to think, and I do think that that's still God showing up for those people. So I don't know, some type of correlation going on in my head of like, call it what you want. Maybe if you're not a believer in God, you can still lean into these practices of having hope. And maybe you don't call it faith because that is more of a Christian key term, but believing and hoping in goodness to get you through a chaotic time, whether it's coming from God or not, like I think it is always coming from God, because that is him.
Yeah.
He is there, and right. So I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
well,
just
Scripture
a little
says
nugget.
God sends rain on the just and the unjust.
Yeah.
He doesn't have favorites. There's nothing we can do to earn his favor.
Yeah.
And all good things are from God.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's like, yeah, I get that. But
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are happy that you're with us. Hopefully next week we can have you here with us in person. But if you're online and you're there, we're so glad that you're able to be here with us virtually. So hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. We hope that you have a wonderful week, that your trust remains in the Lord. And remember that we love you, but even more than that, Jesus loves you. Have a great week.